We do have a lot to get to. Dan will be back Monday. He'll have a lot to get to. A lot to tell you about in the past week. Actually, we have a treat this hour because I'm going to be able to play some audio from Dan, who's reacting from vacation to the fact that cocaine made its way into the White House last weekend. Isn't it hilarious that the White House has been insisting to us that the Biden family was not in the building? They were on vacation. They were away from the building. Why did Karine Jean-Pierre, I call her Corinne. Why did Corinne insist right away? She wasn't even asked. She's like, I just want everyone to know that the Biden family wasn't here. I was like, well, why do you want everybody to know that? Can you elaborate on that impulse? Why was it important for you to tell us that? And does it have everything to do with Hunter Biden? Because yes, the answer is yes. That's why. That's why she was emphasizing that. It wasn't Hunter. Stop blaming Hunter, said Corinne earlier this week. In fact, here's a little montage of Corinne explaining away the blow at the White House.
So what's preventing a visitor from bringing in anthrax or something that's not magnetic into the White House?
No, look, Leisha, I totally understand the question, but it is under investigation.
Does the White House support the prosecution of this individual?
I'm just not going to get into hypotheticals from here.
Would the president be satisfied with, sir, this is a busy room and we found some cocaine? We don't know who brought it.
So let's see what the Secret Service says, right?
How determined is the president to get to the bottom who brought illegal drugs into the White House?
The president thinks it is incredibly important to get to the bottom of this.
Would you answer these questions any differently if you were trying to cover up for Hunter Biden? I don't think so. I think those are entirely consistent with the how do we cover for Hunter defense. Here's also more from Corinne as she explained the Secret Service's role in all of this. It's under their purview. They're going to get to the bottom of this.
There are a couple of primary entrances into the West Wing. There's the one with which we're all familiar right outside the driveway where the Marine stands when the president's in the West Wing. And there's another entrance off West Executive Avenue. Can you explain which entrance we're talking about?
I'm going to let the Secret Service speak to that.
Okay. Can you explain why you can't explain it? I mean, you described it as a heavily traveled area.
That's what I'm just saying what the Secret Service said. We got this from the Secret Service, so I'm sharing a little bit more with you.
She's so pathetic. Isn't she pathetic? This is a layup. It's like, look, I can't give you any information as to the investigation. That's really, again, the Secret Service's purview. They're going to dig into this. Whatever they find, we'll let you know. I can tell you, to your question, great question. There's multiple entrances to the West Wing. It was near this entrance. But that's all I know and all I can share with you at this time. But perfectly good question. Thank you for asking it. And then you move on. No, instead, Corinne is like, I don't know anything. Please stop asking questions about this. I can't answer them. She handles it like somebody asked about Joe Biden's grandchildren. She handles it like it's a question about whether or not Joe Biden has a seventh grandchild. I can't answer that from here. What do you mean you can't answer that? It's a matter of public record. We're just asking you to confirm reality. We're not asking you to tell us about details we don't know. We know Joe Biden has a seventh grandchild. Why are you hiding from acknowledging that? What sort of pathetic prep did you do ahead of this meeting?
From the Secret Service, so I'm sharing a little bit more with you from here. But again, it's under their purview. It's under investigation. They will have more specifics down the road as they are looking into this. We are confident that they will get to the bottom of this.
Confident.
And so I'm just going to leave it to them.
The substance was discovered late on Sunday. What's the latest staff-led tours that happened in the West Wing on a Sunday?
I don't have the specific on how late the staff-led tours go, but I can tell you that there was one on Friday, there was one on Saturday, there was one on Sunday. The times that there are not any West Wing tours is when there is a federal holiday, like yesterday, or a big a large White House event. Just don't have the specifics. Let's let the Secret Service get to the bottom of this. They'll have hopefully more information.
Yeah. So they're blaming tours. The concept here is it wasn't a Biden family member. This was a random American citizen, obviously. It's probably somebody in the unwashed masses. I don't even know how they got into the building, candidly. But the Secret Service is going to dig into it, and we're going to find this riffraff, and we're going to treat him like somebody who went into the Capitol on January 6th. We'll destroy his life or hers. So like a January 6th grandma, they're going to take the fall here. But Hunter Biden? No. The Biden family wasn't even in town. Don't even think about it. But you know what's weird? Is that yesterday, Andrew Bates, who is a low-level comms staffer for the White House, he was handling some of the Q&A with the press, and he was asked about whether or not Hunter Biden can be ruled out specifically. Can you just rule out Hunter Biden? Now, again, if you could rule out Hunter, right, because even Corinne kind of tried to suggest it earlier this week, well, the Bidens weren't at the White House, and that means wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Hunter wasn't at the White House. So when somebody asks specifically, hey, can we rule out Hunter here? The answer should be absolutely. Hunter wasn't in the White House when this occurred. Right? Right? If you were an honest person, if you were trying to give an honest answer to an honest question, but that's not what we get. No. We get something very different.
Former President Trump has made some pretty wild posts recently on social media. One of them was...
First of all, I don't know who the reporter here is, but please spare us the throat clearing about how you don't like Trump. Trump is sharing some wild posts over on Truth Social. Oh, I can't even believe I'm going to say this, but you don't need to do that. You don't need to do. I don't even care what your opinion of Trump is, or Biden for that matter. Just ask the damn question.
Former President Trump has made some pretty wild posts recently on social media. One of them was that the cocaine found in the White House had belonged to either the president or his son.
Okay, but the other thing about this question and the way it's structured is it's literally designed to absolve himself of responsibility for asking about Hunter. It's a form of cowardice. He's citing Trump's Truth Social post as a way to insulate himself from asking directly. So what he could have done is, what assurances can you give us that this wasn't Hunter's coke? Can you say with certainty this was not Hunter Biden's cocaine? That's the way you ask the question. And then let the reporter, let the White House respond and answer the question however the guy wants to. He could get on his moral high horse and be like, how dare you even ask that question? Or he could be like, it was definitely not Hunter Biden. He could answer it any way he wants. But as a reporter, you didn't have to go through the motions. You're trying, this is a signal. See, they talk about dog whistling all the time. He is signaling to the White House guy, I'm sorry, I didn't want to have to ask this question, but that crazy guy, Trump, he said it. So, maybe answer it a little bit. It was Trump.
Posts recently on social media. One of them was that the cocaine found in the White House had belonged to either the president or his son. Are you willing to say that that's not the case, that they don't belong to them?
I don't have a response to that because we have to be careful about the Hatch Act.
Yeah, I can't answer that because we have to be careful about the Hatch Act. What's amazing about the audio you just heard is immediately following it, Andrew Bates would then say, but the reason Trump is doing this is because there's these massive differences between Trump and Biden, and he starts attacking Trump. And I'm sitting there going, wait a second. You just said that you don't want to violate the Hatch Act, so you can't say anything. But then the next sentences are attacking Trump and his policies in order to draw a contrast between Biden and Trump. I'm sorry, let me dig into this. Doesn't this seem like a Hatch Act violation to you? And by the way, the Hatch Act, for those who don't know, is that federal taxpayer resources cannot be expended on political campaign activity. Federal government employees can't be campaigning for or against candidates. They can't. Recently, Corinne got busted for this because she kept using MAGA ahead of the midterms. She kept referring to their MAGA opponents, and it was ruled that she was violating the Hatch Act when she did that because she was involved in a form of campaigning from the White House using your money. She gets paid, what, $174,000 a year? She's using your money to campaign against Republicans and for Democrats. And then when they come back and they say, hey, she violated the Hatch Act, you can't do that. She started blaming everybody else around her. She's like, well, they told me I could do it. The White House counsel's office told me I could do it. She was saying it's everybody else's fault. You never take personal responsibility at all. She's a lefty, so she's kind of by nature already primed not to take personal responsibility at all for anything. But this Andrew Bates character, he comes along and he's like, I don't want to violate the Hatch Act, but Trump sucks. What? You can't. I'm sorry. Just to be clear. You can't do that. But the reality is he can do it because there are no consequences. So what happened to Corinne? Nothing. They said there are going to be no consequences. We just want everybody to know she violated the Hatch Act, but, we'll just give her a sternly worded letter, and that's all there is to it. Andrew Bates is like, hey, look, I don't want to violate the Hatch Act, but, Trump is a jerk. Well, then, it sounds like you kind of violated the Hatch Act there, buddy. Whatever. They'll just tell me that I shouldn't do that, and then I'll do it again anyway. And I'll blame somebody else. I'll say the White House counsel's office told me I could call him a jerk. So that's what's going on there. So I'm getting a lot of, I asked earlier in the program here on the Dan Bongino show, what do we call this? What do we call this cocaine episode at the White House? The lazy way to do this is you just call it Cocaine Gate. Everybody uses some derivative of Watergate to talk about scandals, but come on. That's like, there's no thought at all in that. And so I solicited some responses, and I got them on Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter at Vince Colonnese. And somebody said Biden's booger sugar, I love booger sugar is such a great little euphemism for cocaine. It's just hilarious. It's such a funny phrase. I like that. There's another one here. This one's really good. And by the way, that was Ethan who gave us the Biden booger sugar idea. This one comes from someone by the name of T.L. Newsom. I assume no relation to the greasy governor of California. White House rock. I think that's a leading contender. That's a really good one. White House rock is awesome. Really enjoying that. And then there's another one from Chuck Todd's Goatee, which apparently has a Twitter account, referring to this as the Biden blowstorm. Also very good. So we'll continue to take submissions here throughout the program. We need a good name for all of this because, if we're going to have to focus on it, which we are, we should be able to wrap it up in a nice little name, put a bow on it, and figure out what to call it. I do like the Ghazi suffix. If you had Benghazi, we had the Ghazi suffix too. So blow Ghazi, maybe like Coke Ghazi. We'll keep working on it. I'm Vince Colonnese in today for Dan Bongino. More ahead here as I tell you the Republican effort to dig into blow Ghazi. It's ahead.